seconded by Roger Kenny to come out and go into regular session. Okay, next on is the judge's report. I just have a few things.
So we're going to do Carl's opening the bids in your report?
Yes, yes. Philip Seifert's been awarded the Frank R. Levstick Award for Professional Service for the 2011 from the Kentucky Historic Society. And Philip, I know he's here, son.
He's right back there.
We appreciate you. The Farm City Banquet will be Monday, November 7th at the Extension Office, and you can call for tickets. President Whitlock will be speaking, so it will be a really good meeting. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and March will be Thursday, October 27th at 5:30, beginning at the First Christian Church. Info's in the magistrate's packets. Clay's monthly golf report is in your folder, and also Carl's EMA report. The EKU Center for the Arts, the Munich Symphony Orchestra, will be there Wednesday night, October 26th. And it's just a wonderful facility. Everybody loves it, and it's just really huge. Step Up for Kids, we'll be doing that. We'll be walking from the Kids Center and then to the courthouse and have our annual thing, and that'll be October 28th at 11. We'll leave the Teen Center at 11:30 and walk to the courthouse. And next court meeting will be Wednesday, November 9th in Berea. And we're changing that because it's election day, and we hope that everybody gets out and votes on election day. And also in the court meeting, I'd like to open Carl's bids. Mark, if you don't care.
Judge, I've had the occasion to examine all the boxes. There were 3. They were very well sealed, and I've talked to Carl, and he has received them at the appropriate time and noted that they came in on the appropriate dates as well. The 3 bids were from GEO Diverse, Carousel, and the third one was from Windstream.
First one is NetGame.
NetGame, that's right. It's in reference to the GEO Diverse PB, that's right. As always, Carl can review these and then make a report at the appropriate meeting as far as awarding the bid.
Okay. Carl, are you going to give a report?
I am.
Why don't you come on up and talk to us a little bit about this diverse phone system?
Okay.
We've talked about it some before.
Okay. Basically, this is a phone system that would operate out of the Joint Information Center, the Emergency Operations Center, the backup Joint Information Center down in Berea, and the backup Emergency Operations Center down in Berea. So 4 facilities, 2 in Richmond, out in Keelan, 2 down in Berea, off of Chestnut, basically, I mean, in that area. So that's why it's geodiverse. The system has to be able to function from all 4 locations independently and together. So the technical term the experts give it is geodiverse. It also gives us the ability, if we were to lose 2 of the facilities for whatever reason, tornado, earthquake, whatever, we'd be able to go to the other facilities and still operate and have all of our normal processes that are related to phones and things available to us. So that's what we're looking at. We thought we'd have 4 bids, but AT&T wasn't interested in bidding it after attending our pre-bid meeting, so they did not submit a bid. So have no idea what to expect the prices to be on those boxes. We'll evaluate them. FEMA provided us a phone consultant that's independent, works for the federal government, and they'll do the technical evaluation of it, and then we'll bring you guys a spreadsheet evaluating the pros and cons of the 3 bids, and we'll see where we go from there. You know, we're anticipating at least 2 of the bids to be very thorough because they've dealt with us before and they know how we go through the bid spec to make sure they met every requirement. So we'll see how it turns out. Any other questions on the phone system? I mean, we're still functioning on our original phone system that was put in these buildings, and some of them just aren't capable of handling the modern technology. That's the bottom line. You guys have any questions on that?
Questions?
All right. The other thing I wanted to bring up tonight is our graded field decon CSEP exercise, somewhere between 6 and 6:30. We'll have 14 agencies playing in that graded exercise. Berea Fire, Richmond Fire, Madison County Fire, We'll have the Berea Volunteer Fire Department and Rescue Squad. We'll have the Madison County Rescue Squad, EMS. We'll have the school district transportation garage from North Keelan playing. We'll have the Waco Volunteer Fire Department, Whitehall Volunteer Fire Department, Union City Volunteer Fire Department, MSO's office, Berea PD, and Richmond PD, and then the Kentucky Crisis Response Board. Their team of psychological first aid people will be there, as well as their first aid dogs that are for psychological first aid. So this is a lot of firsts for us in this field exercise tonight. It'll start somewhere around 6 o'clock. We have 4 evaluators that will be evaluating the exercise tonight from all across the country, and up to potentially 18 dignitaries from FEMA and the Pentagon and the Army watching our exercise, as well as a videographer. Apparently that's news to us. But so that'll be happening tonight. The video I've brought to show you
Where's
is...
that going? Did you say where that's going?
It's going to be at Richmond Center off of Exit 87. On the, if you were looking at the center, the easternlymost border, there's a huge blacktop parking lot next to Hastings that never has anybody in it. I think that's where we were supposed to have gotten a Home Depot or whatever, but it never happened. We signed an agreement with them for no cost, and they've been allowing us to practice and use that center to do this particular exercise. We've got 8 or 9 locations now around the county where we can do this operation. This video you're going to see is 4 minutes and 56 seconds. It is what we do, in case you don't get to come see it and haven't got to see it. I know, you knew Greg, so you haven't got to come out and watch one before. But this is the whole operation from 2.5 hours, 3 shifts of people running through the equipment, condensed into 4 minutes and 56 seconds. We did a videographer on an aerial truck from Richmond Fire so he could get a bird's eye view of it. So we thought this would be educational and entertaining for you guys to see. Let me go back over there. You ready? So as you can see, it was a parking lot. We bring all of our own power, water, heat, air, everything we need. From empty parking lot to this stage takes us about 27 minutes. The red and the blue tents is where people would get decontaminated if they had contamination on them. The yellow tents is where they would get medical assessment and medical treatment before they were determined whether they went to a shelter, went to a hospital, or went back home. You can see in the top left there's 2 tanker trucks staged. We're always staging water. We're bringing in roughly, 2,000 gallons a truck, roughly. Some of the trucks are a little larger, some are a little bit smaller, but, it just gives you an idea of what we're doing. And, we've got 4 of them in rotation. The 2 fire trucks there, that's our gross decon, where people would be walking through there still with clothing on. You're getting the majority of the stuff off of them, whether it would be biological or chemical. And then the tents are where you do a fine decon with, soap and water, hot water, and you're getting scrubbed and checked and then dressed into a paper suit. You come out from the red or blue tent, you get checked, And then to make sure you're clean, we have chemical detectors. Then you'd go into the yellow tents for your medical treatment.
Red for women, blue for men, or something like that?
No, that's just the one of them's Berea's and one of them's Richmond's. You know, there's. And like I said, we ran 3 crews of firefighters in PPE through this exercise. Is why, you know, we wanted to be able to do 3 shifts as we saw it. So. And this one, basically based on being in a depot event, we know how that chemical reacts. We're discharging it, we're taking a sample of it to have checked to the lab, but we know, based on it being an aerosol contamination, there's really no secondary contamination threat. And, you know, you're going to be diluting it to the point that, you know, it's going to be a non-detectable contamination. But we do take a sample for a lab to be able to check. You're allowed to discharge to the environment if it's life safety issues, and in this case, it's clearly life safety. You know, so that's the only time you're allowed to discharge unmonitored is if it's life safety.
All the organizations participate here that you mentioned. That
Yes, yeah. This is minus the KCCRB group. They weren't here at this particular exercise. This was on a Saturday morning. But there's 13 organizations right there doing this operation. And one of the typical strengths we hear from the evaluation teams, and we've had them from all over the country, is I can't tell who's who. It's like, perfect, we did our job. We don't want you to know who's who. If you can tell a Berea firefighter from a Richmond firefighter, from a county firefighter, or a volunteer firefighter, we haven't done our job. You shouldn't be able to tell. That's it. So just, we thought it would add value. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
How many hours is that compressed down?
2.5 hours because of running 2 crews or 3 crews through. Like tonight now we have 40 patients signed up. So there'll be 40 real patients that will moulage up. It's starting at 4:30 today, making them look like they've had chemical contamination and some bruises and breaks and cuts and gross stuff. It'll be, you know, Hollywood here locally, because we do a pretty good job. We have 2 moulage artists on staff that have went through the school for it, and so we'll make them all gross and sick looking, and then we'll send them out there to Richmond Center, and they'll have to treat them and deal with
like
them.
a photo op.
It typically does wind up getting, Nancy's typically out there taking pictures of it. So, but anyway, we've got that tonight. And then tomorrow we have the EOC and Joint Information Center and the hospitals and the school play with that evaluation team, and that'll last, you know, roughly 4 hours. We have about 18 evaluators doing that segment of stuff tomorrow. The only other thing is, during this, for the first time on Wednesday, we're going to use our mass notification system. There's been an article in the Richmond Register about it. There was one on the news last night in 27 about it. We're going to be calling roughly 27,000 landlines and 1,300 cell phones sometime during this exercise on an automated system, verifying that what we've procured and put in place works, so we could give notifications to people on certain scale of events, and this would be one, obviously. So we want everyone to take those calls if they're at home, respond to those calls, and if they're not home, respond to those calls later, because this particular system we bought will talk to your voicemail machine and leave you directions on how to respond. So even though you get home at 6 at night, still respond, because we just want to verify our system was capable of delivering that many calls, you know, 30,000 roughly. So that's all the items I had for you guys. Do you have any questions or any concerns or issues? Or Wednesday's exercise will start, you know, somewhere before 9. We never know when. It's always a surprise. Judge is always there. Linda's typically there as well. We've put all of you on the list in case you wanted to attend, because we keep a security list so that the security force in the front of the building knows that you're expected or could be expected. So if you do decide to show up, your name's on the list, so you won't have any issue getting in. So.
I think you do a good job. I like your report.
Thank you.
By the way, brag on him and Scott's report. It was good.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That'd be good to put on the TV channel if you could explain ahead of time that it's going to be speeded up and how many
Chris and I are
hours
going to work on that. Chris
Okay.
has already said I'm going to put it on TV, and he's going to put it on one of the streaming web things we've got. We are getting it, the same thing done to put it on our own website. But yes, it's pretty awesome, you know. And for $250, that's a great tool. You know, a lot of people, that's all it costs us to get it videoed and everything. So I felt it was well worth the money to be able to show people.
Good deal. Thanks, Carl.
You're welcome.
Any other department heads?
I'd like to
Kenny?
ask the court to give approval to pay the poll workers on November 8th. I'll be back that court meeting after with some hard numbers, but in order to get the process going, we need to, treasurer needs the approval.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes.
I'd also like to remind everybody that walk-in absentee voting started this past Monday. And if you're going to be out of town and need a mail-in absentee ballot, to go ahead and call up here and get that going. The time is getting short.
Well, we got
And-
2 weeks
Yep.
from today.
And show up to vote November 8th.
Good deal. Thanks, Kenny. Any other department heads? We've got Scott's, Jim. If not, we'll go comments from magistrates. Greg?
Yeah, what I was saying about the reports is, Scott, on the solid waste report, it's good, brief report that we can look at and see. And plus Carl's reports, I look at them and admire them, that they take the time to break it down to every little incident or thing that we could be more aware of and read about. So I appreciate them for their report. I got a couple complaints down in a subdivision off of Barnes Mill. I talked with the sheriff about it, and also with Dwayne. They're having a lot of issues about cars being parked on the side of the roads and garbage stowed out in front of their buildings, and which they've called me back, and that's been a month. I addressed it, and there's been nobody to address that problem. So maybe you could talk to them and see if they'll get that took care of for the people down there.
Talk to Scott. Scott, are you aware of the situation?
I hadn't, Dwayne hadn't mentioned anything to me about the garbage problems, but we'll be more than happy with it.
Okay. We kind of get into, with the parking on the right of way, if somebody complains, if it's blocking sight distance, somebody can't get out of the driveway or whatever, then we usually address that. But there's so much parking on right of ways that it's, you know, if you really just get into it, it'd take 200 or 300 people a week to get them all off.
Judge, if I could.
Yes, Roy?
I've got a meeting with I've been working with the homeowners down there in Brooklyn, and I've got a meeting with the Homeowners Association on November the 5th it's at the library in the afternoon to meet with the homeowners. They've invited at least representatives of all the homeowners in the subdivisions to meet up there, because if you drive through the subdivision, it's hard to isolate one house really being much worse than the next house. So, and a lot of the property in there has become rental property. So we're trying to meet with all the property owners in one setting and say, here's the deal. You know, we need to, I mean, we've been in there before. We've been in there all summer long making people clean up property, but it's a lot of it's rental. You clean up garbage today, it's right back out the next day or the next week. It's just a perpetual problem. So we are working on it. We haven't seen a whole lot of progress, but we're trying to get with all the property owners at one time and say, if everybody will work together on this thing, we can get the thing cleaned up. So short of us going in there and just spending taxpayer dollars to clean up everybody's property only for it to return back the next day, we're trying to handle this one a little bit different, since it's almost the whole subdivision is that way. So we are working on it. We're not making a whole lot of progress yet until we meet with these guys on November the 5th. But we do have that meeting set up.
Good deal. Thanks, Dwayne. Greg, do you have anything else?
That should be it.
Roger?
I don't have much, Judge. I wanted to tell Scott that in my subdivision, the recycling cans are full and the trash cans are barely being used now. It's unbelievable how much you can recycle. I mean, I didn't realize it myself. The trash can, where we used to put it out every week, I could go at least 2 weeks or 3 now before I'd fill a trash can up. And the recycle can's full every 2 weeks when they pick it up. It's unbelievable how much we can get off the roads and out of the fields and stuff. And the other thing is they just have picked up Jacks Creek. And of course, Scott was mentioning that he went down through there and some trash was already back out, and that's going to happen. But it still looks better than it did. And the program that we got going through the jail is great. I've had some good comments on it. I'm glad to see them out there, see the jail people out there picking up trash, and it's helping the roads. That's about all I got.
It's a super project, and Doug's here. I mean, you see him all over. He's sending, what, Doug, 5, 6, 7 out with the van, 5 out, and they're really making progress. I mean, they work. I've passed them 3 or 4 times, and really doing an excellent job. And it's turned out to be a great program, and I think it's going to really help keep the state roads, especially the rural secondaries, and the exits. They're working on the exits big time.
Yeah, I saw them at the interstate a couple days ago.
Things are looking good. Bill Ray?
Yeah, I had the privilege of going to Japan with our sister region delegation. This is the 24th year that exchange has been going on, and they're fascinated by us because they come every May. 15 or 20 of them come every May, and they're fascinated by Kentucky and the way we do things, and of course we're fascinated by them too because they think that we're the best host, and we say no way, they're the best host. One of the things that they've done over there, because it's kind of a similar area, it's a sister region there, agricultural, touristy type area, small population. What they did about 4 or 5 years ago was they consolidated. They had 4 little towns, and they consolidated all their governments into one. They made one town out of it, and that was quite a challenge for them because you had all these little towns with their different identities, but I think it's kind of a model for improving efficiency. They were able to do that. Maybe that's something for us, that we should be thinking about sometime in the future for efficiency. Matter of fact, one thing that was fascinating to me was that education system. Well, it came under the city government. It wasn't a standalone, like we have our own taxing district and the own board of education. The school employees reported work for the city government. Pretty unusual. I'd like to learn more about that, but like I say, they're fascinated by the way we do things, and we can learn from each other, and that's why we go. And it was a self-funded trip. Taxpayers didn't pay for that trip, so just let you know that. But it's an honor to get to go.
We're glad to have you represent us, Bill Ray. Okay, comments from the audience. I think we have 2 or 3. Scott, you want to come up?
Actually, I have 2 comments, since Carl's sitting here. I didn't realize. I'm Scott Seitz. The first comment is a positive comment. On behalf of the Boy Scouts of America, the Bluegrass Council, I was the scoutmaster for the event at the Bluegrass Army Depot a couple of weeks ago. And Carl's group and the fire department and all came out and helped with that event and put on an outstanding program for us. So we thank you, Carl, and all the guys that were involved in that. Friday night we had 424 scouts in camp, and Saturday we had almost 500 in camp. So we're planning to do that again and hope to utilize their services. I'm still getting calls on that event. It was open to the council, 55 counties, and we had scouts from Whitley County. I'm not from Kentucky, so I don't know all the counties, but Maysville had a troop there, so they had quite a few scouts from all over eastern Kentucky. So it was an awesome event, and we appreciated all the help that came from CSEP and EMS fire and all that. My other comment is not the greatest comment, and I'm looking to rectify a comment that was brought to the court on September the 6th. I am the nurse practitioner that serviced the Madison County Detention Center for the last 5 years. And starting in January, I told Mr. Thomas that I would probably not be able to serve him well past June, because my job was changing, my life was changing. I'm getting more busy. I didn't have the time to provide services. In June, he knew that. He interviewed some people. In July, there was a question of whether another practitioner and I might be able to do that, so we discussed maybe being able to continue on. But on the 1st of August, when the bill was submitted, it clearly states, and that's in the treasurer's office, that we would not be able to continue on at the end of the month. And on September 6th, I understand that it was told to you all that I left him with 1 day's notice. That is not true. I left many, many notices from a long time. And you all had to sign a $165,000 contract based on the fact that you had 1 day's notice. That's not true. I did not do that. And I wanted that known in court. It was in the newspaper. I don't know if the newspaper's here today, but the information that was in the newspaper was wrong. And Mr. Thomas knows that. So I wanted that brought forth to the court and expect an apology from that.
Okay, Doug, you want to come up and explain a little bit about what happened, because maybe it wasn't 1 day, but it was...
No, it wasn't 1 day. Around the 25th or 6th of that month, August.
It was the first of the month, Doug.
See, we're going to probably sit there and argue with him, so...
We're not going
but I'm not going to go there either. It was at the 25th or 26th. You and I had talked about it. And I knew that I've been talking about advanced medical, that I thought to be the best for the county to go to. And actually talked with Scott about it also. But when he said that on the 25th or 26th that, you know, he couldn't do our medical anymore because of his job, you know, got busier. So we had to do something. He did not give me a 1 day notice. But the 25th or 26th of that month, I felt like that we, you know, I actually talked to you about it, and we had to get something done. Yeah.
We brought the people in, so I think it was a little misunderstanding. It wasn't, as the paper quoted, a 1 day notice.
No, it wasn't a 1 day
But,
notice. No.
Scott admitted to me, because I've met with Scott, that it was the 25th, I think, that you and your wife were over there, and you talked to Doug and told him that you all wouldn't be able to provide the service anymore. So
It was prior to that, way prior to that. He asked me for confirmation on that day when we were leaving.
well, but it was kind of like you had let him know that you couldn't continue the service, and he had talked to me, and then we had started looking at alternatives. And I think it was just kind of, there was no harm intended, Scott, to embarrass you or to embarrass Doug, but we did just have like a few days like to take some kind of action. And we were very much, and not on your behalf, but we were very much out of compliance with a lot of state regulations, which you were aware of. And I think the decision the court made to bring in the new company, and we've got a nurse there 5 days a week and stuff, and I think it's in the best interest of the jail and the taxpayers and everybody else.
Me too.
But and it is, but there was no harm intended as far as embarrassing to you, and I think Doug will say that.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
And I think maybe some things were transposed to say what really didn't happen. But on behalf of the court, I mean, we apologize if you were offended or whatever. We really didn't mean.
Yes, I do apologize also.
I mean, we didn't mean for it to come out like in the paper the way it came out. Okay?
That's all I asked.
Okay. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you so much.
I really didn't understand it the way that they explained it there. When we did it, I thought we had a 1 day notice to be able to hire somebody else. I thought we was gonna be out of service totally in 1 day, and that's what the 1 day notice was. So I got it a little clearer this time than I had it to start with.
Well, it was on the 25th.
It was actually before that, Judge, okay?
And you'd been told him since the first of the year
We've
that
been talking about it since
maybe,
the first year. He
maybe
interviewed
6
in
months.
June, okay?
Yeah.
And we were talking about it in July, trying to find other ways to meet the needs and stuff, and we couldn't do that.
Okay.
But your records clearly show that it was the 1st of August when the bill was signed, that I would not be there past the 30th of August. So there was at least a 30-day, official 30-day notice.
Okay.
And that bill came from the two treasurer's offices from there, so I'm not saying that he even seen the bill, because when the bills come into the jail, they're sent straight over to the treasurer's office.
I submit my bill to him,
Okay.
so.
So I think we're okay. Everybody's cool with that. Anybody else in the audience would like to? Thanks, Scott. Appreciate you coming in. Bye, Mike.
Nobody else is going to.
Well, appreciate y'all allowing me to speak here. And again, I'm going for not much rest, so you'll have to bear with me. I was just on my way to pay my taxes, and I thought I might stop by and find out what's going on, some of the ways our money's being spent in the county. Today, I guess I've got a ton of notes, but first I want to say I appreciate the fiscal court putting the meetings up on YouTube now. You know, it's going to be really handy. There's a lot of people out there that want to get involved. They just not really sure how. I can assure you that people are concerned about how their tax dollars are being spent. I hear it all the time because I listen to them all the time. So, seems to me, you know, we spend a lot of time on this court thinking about what could happen if, you know, if we had a spill or this or that, or what happened, you know, a lot of years ago when we had a battlefield here and there. We're concerned about that, but I want to talk to you a little bit about what's happening right now, and I mentioned this already. We got a $14.8 trillion debt at the national level, and that's going up. And you can go to usdebtclock.org and check those numbers. And Kentucky debt's $41 billion, and thankfully, according to the debt clock, our debt is going down in Kentucky, and so I'd like to just encourage you to continue to try to reduce our debt. And every grant that this court applies for, unless it's from a private entity, you know, is going to add money one way or another to that debt. So I just ask that the court consider that. And let's get to just a couple things here that, you know, on building an animal shelter. Now I'm going to seem harsh, but you know, cats, you know, they know how to catch mice. You know, they know how to survive in the environment, and I appreciate people who want to take care of cats. And I know somebody who's a physician in the area. She collects cats. I mean, she takes them in. So we got people, you know, if we put the word out, I guess that you know, we got a problem. Let's step up as a community and try to take care of this problem. Maybe we won't have to build another shelter, you know. Right now, I'm worried about, you know, our people, how we're gonna survive. Our taxes are going up. We're gonna have to make some cuts. I mean, and I haven't seen that yet from this board. I know you're concerned, but I want to, you know, I'd like to see some cuts, and I hope I'm speaking on behalf of the taxpayers out there. And I do got one question that somebody asked me to mention if I spoke today, and regarding the taxing districts, and there's 6 ones on here other than you all. When they send you all a bill or whatever to approve,
Copy of their budget or whatever?
yeah, the copy of their budget. It's my understanding that you have no control over their budget. You can't send it back to them. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's by state law, right? Okay. I just want to clarify that. I've got a lot of other comments, but, you know, I'm running on a lot, not much rest, and I just ask you again to please be aware when you do these grants. It's not free money, and I thank you for hearing me out. And you got any questions that for me.
Let me ask you something. That money is set aside for projects, for grants. Would you rather that money is designated already? Would you rather that money go to Western Kentucky, or would you rather go to New York, or would you rather make improvements to Madison County's quality of life?
Right.
I mean, somebody's going to get it. So we've become, and I might say, experts in grant applicating. So if it's somebody's going to get it, then why wouldn't we want it in Madison County? Why would we want to let somebody in California or New York get it? Answer me that.
Right. Well, I understand perfectly, and we're going to have to step up as a country. I mean, we've got a national problem, and all we can do is what we can do here. We can say, hey, how can we meet this need, I know a lot of, like, the environmental things that we're doing here, and I don't think we have a grant on that, but, I mean,
Yeah, we had a grant to pay for the hazardous.
Right, okay, well, I'm part of a Adopt a Highway program. I know that's probably a state program, and we adopted a highway on Richmond Road, and it's called Guns and Garbage. We pack our guns, and we pick up garbage, There's a lot, and I know in this county, because I'm a graduate of Berea College, there's a lot of environmental concerns, and those people would be willing if we, asked them to step up and take care of some of these garbage problems.
But there's an allocation through the Animal Control Board in Frankfurt, and they give so much money is allocated for grants.
Right.
So would you, being a citizen of Madison County, rather us receive the $50,000 to expand our animal shelter, or would you rather have seen Warren County or Bullitt County or Floyd County get that money? I mean, wouldn't you rather have that for us to improve the services that we provide to you and everybody else? I mean, are you sitting here telling me that you want us to quit, like, applying for grants and letting Clark County or Rockcastle County or Greenup County get them?
Absolutely. I think in some cases, if it's a road project, I think that's something that we all, benefit from. If it's something, you're not going to get a volunteer road crew, you know what I'm saying? But you will get a volunteer crew to pick up litter and things like that. So, and the other counties are going to have to do the same thing. I mean, it's a huge problem.
I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to get every penny we can in grant money because that's how we operate. That's how we continue to upgrade and provide services for the residents of Madison County, which is over 86,000 people now. If we didn't rely on grants and discretionary money from the state government, from the federal government, if we didn't have those type things like the battlefield, we couldn't do anything that we do.
Right.
And we have one of the best county governments in the whole state of Kentucky, and we've done more. We're providing more services. I can go down the list just in Scott's office.
Right.
And just like, and we were talking about Doug, the state is paying for a jailer to take these people out. The only cost we were out was to buy a van.
Right.
And we're picking up state highways the year round. If we hadn't have done that, then some county over the river would have got that deputy and been picking up their trash.
Right.
So
yeah.
That's the only way we can continue to provide services is to apply for free money.
Right. Well, and I'm just asking that we use a little more discretion about it, and look at those things like road projects. We obviously, they take that money. We send our tax money to them, and then we get back a portion of it. But the thing is that if you look at the efficiency of government at providing services, it's about 30% efficient, and
you hadn't checked Madison County government.
Right. And then you take like a private organization like United Way, it claims to be 88% efficient. But what's 100% efficient is me getting out and picking up my garbage. We need to try to encourage responsibility, you know, and I'm just asking that the county court ask the people to step up and do some of these things. I understand, you know, if it's not getting done, government has to do it. But I believe if the people are asked to step up and do some things, that, you know, they'll do it.
Well, for every one that'll pick up garbage, there's 10 that's not. They're gonna wait for their county or somebody else that's paying the bill to do it for them.
Right.
And on the cat issue, the thing about the cats is you talk about people will take them in, and they will. But then they get so many cats, they can't feed and take care of them, and
Right.
guess who they call to do something about it?
Well, where's Bob Barker when you need him, you know?
That's right.
We need to.
The comment about us, that this court not cutting is not correct. You need to take last year's budget, compare it with this year's budget, and you'll see that this court has been very
Right.
aggressive on cutting the budget.
Well, I've got copies of the budget, and I'm not here to, you know, cause turmoil. I'm just asking, you know, on behalf of the taxpayers. And we have a watch group at Madison County TaxWatch.com. And I'm just asking you all to, you know, consider the type of grants you get and if you can do without those.
On the grants, as you looking at them, I look at them, you know, I'm conservative, think we ought to save everything we can. But as Kent was saying, you know, that's money already allocated from the federal government. It ain't that we're putting in a grant that's trying to get them to give us money that ain't allocated. It's money that's sitting back in a pile, and if we don't take it, some other county or organization take it, and then they leave us empty.
Right.
So, you know,
And
it ain't that we ain't trying to be conservative on our part, but it's just part of life, you know, that we're living in today.
Well, I'd like to see the county take a move and say we're going to be a debt-free county. You know,
we're trying. We're
going to be
working at that.
a grant-free county, excluding, you know, private grants if people want to give. But I'd like to see us move in that direction, and I don't see that happening right now. So, but I'm not here, you know, like I said, I commend you on the more transparency and you know, I'd like to see, you know, more people get involved. We need to poll some of our positions. I know we got some controversial issues such as the fairness ordinance and things like that. Those things need to be polled, you know, so that we can deal with them effectively. And if we could get something like that up on our website, you know, some type of polls on issues, I think that'd be appreciated by the people too.
When I pay taxes too, I'll see you down there.
All right. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you coming in. Motion to pay claims, approve transfers.
So move. Second. Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Thanks, everybody, for coming in.